So we will practice. So just wherever way, however you're sitting in a chair that's perfectly comfortable, on a couch, bed. Some people sit on a cushion on the floor, but for this, of course, you absolutely don't have to. So as you settle in, I just invite you to get comfortable and see if you can have a somewhat upright back, if that's available to you, if that's accessible. It helps to have your feet on the floor. You don't have to. Let your hands be wherever they're comfortable, on your legs, on the arm of your chair, whatever works for you. And your eyes can be closed. And if for some reason it doesn't feel good to you to have your eyes closed, then feel free to have them open. My suggestion would be looking downward so you're not too distracted. And let's begin by taking a few deep breaths. And as we take these deep breaths, just invite you to settle in a little bit more fully, to invite in the possibility of relaxation, if that's possible. And just to find your way back to yourself. You've been learning a lot over these last few days, and I also know that, of course, there's a lot going on in our lives, even prior to or during this whole conference. So just giving yourself a little time to settle and return to yourself. And let's feel our feet on the floor. If your feet or the base of your body is somehow connected to the floor, just feel that connection. There's heaviness, hardness, softness, warmth, tingling. And see if you can have a sense of the earth below you. So we can really feel into the ground below us. And it's mostly just, obviously, some of you may be many stories up. We may not be on the literal ground, but we can have a sense of the ground supporting us, holding us, and even the way our chair, couch cradles our body, we can feel that connection with being held. The solidity of the earth below us. And this is a helpful tool, I find, when I get a little anxious or upset about something. If I can just remember to feel my feet on the ground, body on the chair, just connect with the moment and then sense the ground below me, holding me. Now let's turn our attention to the sounds around you. Maybe sounds that are in the room you're in, maybe in the where you are, outside, far away. Turn your attention to the sounds and listen to the sounds as if you were listening to your favorite music. Listen with curiosity and openness. Often when we hear sounds, we start to get caught up in a whole story about the sound. I like this, I don't like it. See if you can simply listen. And now turning your attention into your body, noticing your body is breathing. You can feel your abdomen rising and falling, expanding and contracting with each breath. Or you might notice your chest rising and falling, expanding and contracting with the breath. Or maybe you notice the air moving through your nose, tingling, warmth, coolness. So let's pick something to focus on. This can be your breath in your abdomen, your chest, or your nose. Or if you preferred listening to the sounds, you can choose that. Choose whichever is the clearest or the easiest for you, knowing that they all work equally well. And let's begin the process of noticing breath after breath, or sound after sound. One breath ends, the next breath begins. As we do this, you might notice your attention starts to wander. Start thinking about other things, planning, remembering, imagining. When this happens, you're not doing anything wrong. It's completely normal. When you notice your attention has wandered, you can say a soft word in your mind, like thinking or wandering, and then redirect your attention right back to your main focus, the breath or to the sounds. For some of you may even choose to just keep your feet on the ground and feel that sort of sensing of your feet and the changing sensations. So we're with our focus, our attention wanders, and then we come right back. And we just keep doing it again and again, coming back again and again. And other things may happen as you do it. So if something's in the background, just let it stay in the background. But if it becomes really obvious, turn your attention to it. Notice it, feel it, sense it, and then go back to your focus. So I'm going to stop talking for a few minutes, and you can give it a try. We're going to bring this meditation to a close. And as we do that, notice how you're feeling. What are you feeling in your body? Is your body feeling relaxed, ready? It may or may not be, but just to notice. How about your mind? Does your mind feel a little bit quieter, so more focused? Again, it may or may not be. If you find yourself feeling good in some way, restful, relaxed, alert, really allow that to be here. Really enjoy that feeling. And if you're not feeling that, you're feeling something else, see if you can simply let whatever is here be here. From the perspective of mindfulness, whatever you're experiencing is just the truth of this moment. And we're trying to create a way to have more connection to ourselves, more allowing of things as they are in your experience. It definitely doesn't mean when we say allowing, it definitely doesn't mean that we don't stand up for injustice or if something is not fair or wrong. But it's this quality of mind. It's a little more balanced than we usually have. Just notice what's here. And once again, let's feel our feet on the ground. And then also notice the earth below you. And remember again the native peoples that were mentioned in the beginning who stewarded this land. That connection. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes or end the meditation. So thank you for giving that a try. And what I would love to do right now is just to hear from you and what happened as you did that. What did you notice? Any questions, comments? And you're welcome to use the chat function, or if you want to turn on your mic or you can turn on your camera. It's up to you, but I'd love to hear how it went.
Thank you for facilitating that. I think the practice itself is simple, but actually doing it's probably the biggest hurdle. So I think it's mid-Friday in California right now. So, we've each have had busy weeks and we're about to launch into a weekend. So I think just sort of centering ourselves feels very powerful to sort of pause from the week that we've just had and then recenter ourselves and then launch in. So feeling pretty powerful from that.
Oh, good. Happy to hear that. Yeah, I know it's been a long last 4 days with so much going on, or 3 days, but um, so Anna wrote that it was freeing, and Bonnie said feeling calmer, less thoughts. Larice said very relaxing. I actually fell asleep. Yeah, so I just want to say, there are some people that had a sense of just deep calm, but deep calm is really close to falling asleep, right? When you're very calm and then you fall asleep. It's very normal that people get sleepy when they do this meditation. For the first reason is that most of us don't get enough sleep. It's just pretty standard. Statistically, most people don't get enough sleep. So when you get ready to meditate and you close your eyes and my voice is soothing, it's very typical people fall asleep, but you probably needed it, so it's not a bad thing. And if you decide to do it at home, which I will talk about in a minute, I would recommend picking a time of day you're least likely to fall asleep, because you will then have more alertness and it'll be easier to practice it. Did anybody find that their minds were running all over the place, thinking all sorts of things? Yes, then that also is normal. So most people, like, they get either sleepy or restless, and if that's happening, that's what happens, and it's actually a sign of human intelligence. right? So if you're saying, oh, some of you are saying it was difficult to concentrate, I felt restless, it's a sign of our intelligence. The human brain is wired to search for threats. That's how we survived. Many years ago, I was teaching at the Natural History Museum, not many years ago, I think, right before the pandemic. I was teaching at the Natural History Museum. They were having some event where they had teachers teaching classes, and I was teaching in the dinosaur hall. And I said, you want to know why your mind is constantly running around? Look up. And there were these like giant dinosaurs that we were escaping from, right? We had to learn how to search for threats and to be responsive. But now what happens is we're still on alert in the absence of these giant threats. And sometimes we like over exaggerate the threats that are just in our mind, and not that we don't really have things to worry about. And of course, this is a crazy time that we're living in, and so much is happening, and we are worried about so much. And obviously, with what's going on in the Ukraine, with all of this, those are real thoughts. I'm not saying we shouldn't be having those thoughts. What's interesting is, when do they lead to a lot of suffering that might be unnecessary? And when can we say like, oh, okay, I'm getting lost in this thought, and it's if I keep going here, it's gonna get me in trouble. Just come back to the present moment. I sometimes talk about it like not getting on the train. It's like we get on this train and the train is going 20 miles an hour, and you start thinking, oh no, this is happening, this is so bad, and what if this happens? And it's like we're down the track, and suddenly 20 minutes later you go, oh, I've been lost in that thought. So the good news is you can get off the train, right? When you realize that you're lost in a thought that is leading to a lot of suffering, you can get off the train, or you cannot get on the train in the first place. And that's some of the skills that mindfulness can teach us. So I think my point, just going back to all of this, is the more we practice it, the easier it gets. The more we will have the ability to notice when our mind has gotten restless and come back to the present moment. When we're lost in a worry, when we're about to yell at our kid, we can come back into the present moment. So just a few thoughts on that. I want to do an exercise kind of to help you. Hopefully, maybe this will integrate some of what you've been learning, but mindful speaking and listening is an interesting thing, because once you get the tool of mindfulness, I know some of you have had experience with it. It's this redirecting into the present moment. We're lost in something, we come back to the present moment. Well, it's not just for navel gazing, right? It's not just for ourselves. It's something that we can do in our relationships. We can learn to speak and listen in a mindful way so that we're really present, whether it's with, a client, whether it's with your coworker, your child, your partner. We can give our full attention and use the principles of mindfulness. So I'm going to show you just some guidelines around this. We all know what unmindful speaking and listening is, right? Unmindful speaking is you're talking to me and I'm doing this and looking at my phone, or I'm interrupting, or as you're talking about you, I start talking about me. Like, these are all the things that's not mindful speaking and listening. Mindful listening is what I say, it's giving wholehearted attention, like really showing up. Just like you tried to give wholehearted attention in a sense to your breathing in the last exercise, this is about giving wholehearted attention to the other person. We can notice our body from time to time. Our minds can be in the past or the future, but our bodies are always in the present moment. So we can bring our attention to the present moment by noticing our body. And right now, if you were to notice your body, you might notice your feet on the ground, legs on the chair. You might notice a breath. You might notice your shoulders relaxing or being tense. So that's just from time to time when you're listening, that will help you stay present. And then if your mind wanders off, bring it back. If your mind wanders off, just come back, just like we did before, right? When your mind wandered off into a thought about something, you come back to the present moment. Mindful speaking is really speaking authentically, noticing your body. So when I say speaking authentically, a lot of the times we open our mouths and just blah, blah, blah comes out of it. So it's connecting to a bit of a deeper place inside us. We can notice our body also when we're speaking from time to time. We can slow down. We can even notice what we're mindful of. We can actually verbalize it, like, oh, as I'm speaking right now, I'm noticing that my hand is moving back and forth. I don't know if you can see that. Okay. Okay, so these are the guidelines, and you don't even have to remember them so much, because I'm just going to give you an exercise, and I really want this exercise to be fun, like don't take it too seriously. And if you remember one thing about mindful speaking or listening, try it while you're doing it. So you're going to be put into groups of, let's do 3, I think. Let's just put people in 3. I think we have enough for 3. And when you go into the groups of 3, you're going to do something unusual that we don't typically do, which is, instead of a conversation, we're going to have let each person talk, but not for very long, for like 90 seconds. And you can just say, and 90 seconds, it sounds like it's short, but it ends up being longer once you do it. So you're going to have, when you get in the room with 3 of you, it feels like it's longer. One person can be the timekeeper, and they'll give everybody 90 seconds. And so one person will go talk for 90 seconds. I'm going to put this in the chat so you'll have it. And then you'll pause for a moment, and then the next person 90 seconds and answers the question, and then the third person 90 seconds and answers the question. Let me stick it in the chat so everybody's clear. Give me one moment to get it. Okay, so person 1, here's the question. What's meaningful to you about your work? Just speaking from your heart, like what has been meaningful? What lights you up? What nurtures you? What's exciting? However you want to interpret that question. And you'll just talk for 90 seconds without being interrupted, just to practice this, and also to see what it's like to speak without somebody interrupting. Oh, I see people escaped when they saw they were going to have to maybe someone dropped out. Well, we can do one group of 2 if we need to. And then and then you pause for a moment, and then the next person answers it. It's just 90 seconds. We don't interrupt, and we practice really listening and speaking together with this mindfulness. And then the third person, and then just a general discussion about what that was, how that was, and anything that you wanted to follow up on or ask. So the whole thing should take about 6 minutes. And let's see, now we're down to 13 people. I knew people were, oh, I'm out of here. 1, 2, let's see. What do we have? We have 10 people. Maybe we should do 2s then, because so we can have 5, unless you 2 want to participate.
Yeah, we have 3 rooms. 2 have 3 people, and 1 room will have 4.
Okay. The 4 one is going to be hard. It's just going to take longer. We only have a few minutes left of the.
Okay, I could do 2.
Let's do 2 3s and 2 2s. How about that? Does that work? I know you have to get Zoom to cooperate.
There you go.
And you 2 could participate, just saying. Okay, so any questions before we jump into this? And, one more thing. If you wouldn't mind, unless there is an accessibility issue, would you put your camera on? Because that way the person will get to know you a little bit. And if you, for some reason, because of some accessibility issue, wait, don't go yet. You can't put your camera on, please explain why, okay? So it's better with the camera on. All right, I'll see you in about 6 minutes. Hey, everybody. I see a few smiling faces, so I hope that means that was fun. And I realized that when I looked at the chat, I said person 1, person 1, person 1. You realized I meant person 1, 2, and 3, right? Okay, everybody got a chance. Good. So any comments or questions about mindful speaking and listening, or just that activity? Anything you want to share? How about this? Enjoyed it is thumbs up, hated it is thumbs 2, which is down, and then anywhere in between. Looks like a lot of thumbs up. Okay, great. It's nice. I know it's so hard on Zoom. Everybody feels so isolated, so we try to do, meaningful breakout rooms, not just breakout rooms to work, So good. So I hope that you will take some of these things with you. Take maybe if you start, I didn't mention this, but having a daily practice is really helpful. I'm about to show you some resources. So having a time of day when you do some mindfulness practice for yourself, even if it's just 5 minutes. I usually start people out with 5 minutes a day. And it could be in the morning when you get up, it could be in the middle of the workday, it could be when you get home or before bed. There's lots of options, whatever is going to work well in your schedule. It doesn't have to be a long time, but just something to start to build that muscle of self-care, of supporting yourself, going back to this thing we talked about in the very beginning, like what do we do to take care of ourselves? Because so many of us, I know I was like this for a long time, give to everybody else, but not to ourselves. So this is the invitation, and mindfulness is just one way to do it. Of course, there's many ways to do it, but I really want to encourage you to find something that works for you. So my last slides are just to share some of our resources at UCLA. Oops. Here we go. So our center, the UCLA Mindful Awareness Research Center, we teach we're in the medical school in the psychiatry department, but we do a lot within the UCLA Health system, but we also are all of UCLA and then wider to the Los Angeles community. And then now, of course, since the pandemic, we've gone global. Mission is to foster through mindfulness through the lifespan to promote well-being in a more compassionate society. We have a vision of radical accessibility of mindfulness practices for all. And we mean this quite sincerely. We try to make our classes affordable. We offer lots of scholarships, reduced rates. So you're welcome to share this with the people that you work with and so on. And our center has education. We do a number of research studies. We have free drop-ins. We train teachers. So lots going on. This is a book that I co-wrote with a scientist, Fully Present: The Science, Art, and Practice of Mindfulness. And my most recent book is The Little Book of Being. Both of them are more mindfulness books if you're interested in going further. This is so we have an app. It's a UCLA Mindful app. It's available for the iPhone or Android or whatever you got. If you are interested in meditating, but you don't want to do it by yourself in silence, it's so helpful to have the support of guided meditation. So our app is a free resource. Not only is it a free resource in English, but we have 6 of our core meditations in 14 different languages, including American Sign Language. So we have Vietnamese and Tagalog and Spanish and just an array. So if there are people that you think may benefit from this, please feel free to pass this resource on. And then this is our website, uclahealth.org/MARC. What I realize I'm going to do is I'll send a handout which has all this information on it, and that way you don't have to remember everything I just said, but I'll send that to you too, and then you can forward that if that sounds good. So I think that's it for me. It's been great to be with all of you. I hope this was helpful, and I pass it back to Christian.
Yes, I think it was very helpful for all of us. Want to thank you so much, Diana, for bringing your insight and expertise to this space, for taking us through the exercise, and for directing us to impactful resources that we all can use as we manage the emotional labor that goes into our everyday lives at work. As we wrap up, I would like to acknowledge UCLA Health for their generous support of our summit as the presenting sponsor, as well as the sustaining donors to the Alumni Association, whose donations make programs like this summit possible. I would also like to acknowledge the planning committee and all of the speakers for making this summit and subsequent discussions possible. And finally, we encourage you to join the Changemakers Summit group on UCLA One to continue these conversations. Thank you all. Have a peaceful weekend, and go Bruins.